the universe wants to say now about it. So we've got that sort of soft yes card. Interesting that it would come up. And the Page of Pentacles. So looking at something. So see how that page is looking at a pentacle. So looking at something literal or physical. So it is a thing. Q is physically was created here on earth, but look at that in the past. So, but the intelligence of it was brought to us from the Alliance. So that's sort of echoing what I've been saying about it. And I got that info from my cards years ago. When I first read on Q, I didn't even know what the heck, what's Q, right? So the guy that I first started my YouTube channel with, the first Tarot by Janine YouTube channel, was a guy named Guy. And he knew a lot about Q, and he was following Q right from the very first drop. So he was really heavily into, all of the things Q's information gives us. He was looking at that stuff for years. So pretty smart guy. He's still on YouTube, I believe. Readings with Guy, I think his YouTube channel, but I don't know if he's changed the name of it, but that's what it used to be called. Anyway, so here we've got the page. So we're looking at something that is literal, and it does look like it was a group of 3 coming together. So Alliance, certainly, maybe they came up with the concept of it. And then they got, I think, some really high up military people involved and some really high up white hat people. So that would make sense to that 3. And now we've got the 2. So they're offline now, 2 of Swords. So they're waiting. But I do think they'll finish up with some kind of really big, they're going to, once we really come into our new plateau and we shift from, this kind of world that we're in, this very confusing and frustrating world of theater, because everything looks like theater out there. Everything to do with what you think's going on in all these countries is theater, in my opinion, and what the cards have been telling me for a really long time. I feel like once we shift out of that, Q comes back on. Maybe not for a long time, but maybe for a final sort of bow. So I'm thinking we will hear from Q. And see that 2 of Cups? I think Q might even give us some insight into who's been, why the PSYOPs and why the White Hat Alliance felt the need to play out all the PSYOPs we've been, having to put up with. I feel like they're gonna come together and let us know. So somehow Q is going to have something to do with on the other side when things get fully exposed to everybody. I think Q comes back online and maybe helps really explain themselves. So that's wow. Okay. Now let's look at today. So today's a big date, October 29th. Jean-Claude talked about this date, saying that somehow it was told to us, like in the community, and it's been out there in sort of even in mainstream media, I think, that the 29th was the day we'd know for sure, was 3I Atlas a comet, just a nothing burger sort of comet. Not that a comet that size is a nothing burger, but as opposed to a spaceship or craft or entity, or is it in fact something we got to really pay more attention to? Is it something else other than a comet? Now, a lot of people already believe they know that it's certainly the idea of 3I Atlas is not a comet. I don't think it is anyway, but let's have a look at today. Is there anything exciting the universe thinks we need to hear about today? Is there any big drops? What's happening today? I know for a lot of people, your day already started. I'm pretty early here at 11 a.m., but I'm Pacific coastal, so 3 hours behind Eastern time. Let's have a look. So the day's already well into play, but let's see what today's bringing. So the 9 of Wands, So this is a little tired out. A lot of us haven't been sleeping. Like, it's been difficult. Lots of difficulty out there trying to weed our way through false information, fake news, fear porn. I mean, it's hard, right? So this card's like maybe even this is the community itself where we're leery. This guy's leery, and he's got another fight in him. It's a 9, not a 10, so he's not done yet. He's got another fight, but yeah, he's close to the end, this guy, of his energy. And there's been a lot of there's been a lot of energy output, right? And then this is interesting. So this and this together indicate, so this alone might mean one thing, but when you look at them together, so the end of what? The deep state, the dark cult, the deep state. Interesting. So I feel like we might get some kind of reassurance that of the demise of our enemy that in the war we've been fighting. So the spiritual war, the information war, this is the enemy, really. And I feel like this is one of the cards that represents the enemy. And I do feel like they are near their end. I really do feel that. And I felt that for a really long time. They're just having a hard time letting go of what power they had. Okay, I think they're even more near the end than we think they are, because I think a lot of things are falsified and that we're actually just been, it's almost like they put it on automatic pilot, a lot of the demonic and evil things that these guys created, and for basically in a controlled way, but on automatic. So we would still have to endure a lot of their damage, unfortunately, because that's how people wake up. They don't wake up when everything's too comfortable, right? You have to get uncomfortable to wake people up, and that is just how humans are. Human nature is like that. I would say that was absolutely true. Okay, the only time I've ever really leaped forward and accomplished great things was when I was put in a difficult position, and that's just how humans are. So that's unfortunate. It sounds sad. Maybe some people might think that it sounds sad that we're like that, but no, maybe it's just what we're like, and maybe we just need to kind of not get affected by that and recognize that is a fact. Okay, and we have to work with it. Okay, so interesting. Let's keep looking here. So now we've got the Knight of Cups in the near future. I don't see any big events. I see a continued pointing out that these guys, that we've won over these guys. There might even be some kind of clue out there, even more than usual, some kind of clue out there, maybe even in mainstream media. So we'll keep our eyes open that this group has lost, and the more information that comes out, like we're learning that Monica Lewinsky, for instance, and a lot of people might have known this already, but it's becoming more apparent that she was an agent sent in basically to take down, the presidency at that time, right? And really didn't quite do it. She didn't quite do it, but caused a lot of trouble, that's for sure, for old what's his name. I'm not even going to say his name. Such a loser. But yeah, like these people are sent in, and she was a MK Altered. I mean, I feel like just the fact that that's out there so plain, and you can share that, and you don't get shut down for sharing it. You can share that Macron's wife, who a 25-year senior, picked him up when he was 14, is actually a guy, but not only that, is likely related to him, like could even be his dad. How gross is that? Like horrifying. Like that stuff's all out there. These guys have lost, right? So I feel like more drops and more things being revealed, just the constant reveal, and that's a continuation. So the 29th doesn't look like it has any big event that I can see here. Okay, but we'll watch. I hope I'm wrong about that, because big events move us forward. So bring them on, I say. Okay, let's see what else we got. let's look at the 30th of October. So big, big videos out about the 30th of October. Apparently, I believe it was the 29th and the 30th were talked about, where a lot of energies come together astrologically, as well as what Three Eye Atlas is, energetically bringing, to create like some big flare or flash of where humanity gets a huge boost forward intuitively. Now, I will say that my intuition has absolutely felt like it's been upgraded. I've been feeling that for years, but in particular, even in the last 6 weeks, I would say that was, and a lot of people are talking about that. Okay, so I really do feel that's already in progress, and that could be a subtler thing that might not just happen like where you're actually noticing it, right? That takes a little bit of self-awareness, where you need to just watch yourself, your response to things, and how, what you're getting and picking up on things. People need to be self-aware to notice even things like that. So pay attention to your intuition, folks, and let me know in the comments what you're thinking or how you're feeling. Have you had an upgrade? Okay, because a lot of people say we've already, we've been getting those upgrades. But the 30th was supposed to be a really big date for, in particular, something. And that was brought on astrologically, as well as the Three Eye Atlas energy. Okay, well, the Chariot, that is interesting. So the Chariot is a quickening, can be a quickening card. Did anybody out there read the book, The Quickening, by, what was his name with the, oh, I can't remember that guy's name that wrote The Quickening. I think this has happened to me before. Oscar Wilde with an E, that's it. Oscar Wilde, The Quickening, not the other Oscar Wilde, not the British Oscar. Oh no, Oscar Wilde was British, but not the Oscar Wilde poet or whatever. No, the writer Oscar Wilde, who wrote The Quickening, also Redemption. I think he wrote a book called Redemption. That was the last one I read of his, because it was absolutely horrifying. It actually, as you read it, you can tell this guy's going into the dark side and or off the deep end. So it scared the you-know-what out of me. And I think he was maybe, I think Oscar Wilde, the guy I'm talking about who wrote The Quickening, was in fact MK altered, and was the result of it was, and then maybe that, yeah, I think something happened to him anyway. I think he was meddled with. Yeah, could have been MK Ultra, could have been some other program, but he was meddled with, I think, by agencies, and brilliance was coming out of his work, but also it drove him insane. But that's just my opinion about Oscar Wilde, the guy that wrote The Quickening. Okay, and when you try to find the book, The Quickening, they don't want you to find it. Okay, they'll lead you to all of these other really foolish books called The Quickening. Okay, on purpose. Like, so you're going to need DuckDuckGo to find the real Oscar Wilde Quickening book. Anyway, so I digress. Let's have a look. This is a quickening card, and it says something's happening fast and furious here. We've also got a major arcana. So I do feel like information, somebody might even, and it could even be in the Trump team and or White Hat Alliance, somehow connected to White Hat Alliance or Trump team or all of the above, putting out information about, so some big drop, it looks like, or more reveal around alien activity, maybe even the Three Eye Atlas stuff. It might not have happened right on the 30th, but it feels like certainly we get more information about it, or what's coming, or what to expect around, and even somebody's opinion, maybe somebody in the government of the US, their opinion about aliens, that's surprising and moving us one step further to the truth. So quickening us to the actual fact that they've been around, they're here, they live amongst us. What are they really? Maybe somebody reveals what they really are, which is interesting. Okay, so here we've got the Page of Wands. Okay, so it does catch the eye of the normies, and it feels like it takes a little. Gets the normies pretty excited here. Not huge, like pages are small, but it's the beginning of a lot of normies getting interested here in something that the rest of us are all been looking at for a really long time. So that's interesting. Now we've got the temperance card here. That is just the beginning of something big that takes some time and could be, see this really frustrated card, but there's temperance here. Temperance. Okay, that's interesting. Temperance is like a tempering, and it reminds us that universal timing is in effect. Universal timing is in effect, even though there's frustration around just how small the information is and how much more is really available, and we know it. But at least we need to be patient and trust that the timing of it is perfect. And even though it's just a small drop, and finally some normies get talking about some real truth, something that is really small though compared to what we know about what's been going on and what goes on extraterrestrially and or dimensionally, right? Like I feel like we're frustrated in one way that it's such a small drop, but at the same time, the universe wants to remind us that we have to be careful with these things, especially when it comes to the general population. Okay, so the drop isn't as big as we'd like it, but it does feel like it's significant enough to make it into the cards, okay, for the 30th. So let's look at the 31st. So the 31st of October. So this is Halloween or All Hallows Eve or Samhain. Is that how I say it? Coco, do you know how to say it? Samhain. Anyway, there's an official word. There's Coco.
No, I don't.
You don't? Oh, shoot. No. Okay, guys, put it in the comments. How do I say that? Saline? Anyway, something like that. But there's an official word for the day here, but it's pretty interesting that I would say it's a really big, like, demonic date as well. Okay, so I feel like they created Halloween, the way we celebrate it here, or conduct ourselves on Halloween with the kids going around getting candy and stuff. And think about it, getting all of that really junky candy, ruining their teeth. It's bad for your health, eating that much candy, eating it, and it's all the cheap junky candy. When I was young, people used to bake things, and of course that got stopped because evil people would put razor blades in their baking and or pins, and that happened in the cities, maybe even in the odd small town. And then obviously they stopped. People didn't want to take their kids to individual houses to get baking, but my mom used to bake, and kids would come over and she'd feed them her baking, But yeah, anyway. The way we celebrate it, I feel like they did it on purpose for a lot of different reasons, just to get us used to the idea of ghouls, and maybe even just to be able to, under the cover of, so the Halloween parties and whatever, because it goes on for like days, it seems, in cities, especially over the weekend. It'll always take over the weekend before and the weekend after in the clubs and everything, right? So depending on what day Halloween turns up, I feel like a lot of dark entities utilize that energy to do their, the ugly stuff they're up to, the human trafficking, child trafficking, ritual parties, etc. And they can get away with even coming and going from those events dressed up in attire, because you can get away with wearing just about anything around Halloween time, right? You can look like a total demon and nobody's going to bat an eye. Okay, so let's have a look at what's going on there. So we've got the 8 of Swords and the 5. I feel like a lot of people coming out of the 29th, 30th are quite disappointed in this community, maybe, that more obvious thing hasn't happened, in particular around maybe the 3-eye atlas, and or in particular around alien reveals in particular. And even like there's a lot of people, I already have talked to quite a few people who are quite disappointed that nothing was done on the 28th, because it was the anniversary of, that's even how I found out that it was the anniversary of Q. People were writing to me and they were hoping and wondering, what was going to happen. Was Q going to resurface? Was something going to happen? And as we see, it didn't, so it's unfortunate. Okay, so a lot of people could still be feeling kind of disappointed that the 30th didn't bring us, for instance, what that guy on TikTok was saying it would. But, things like upgrades, like he was talking about, happen in a more subtle way. They don't just overnight, although the way he was describing it, it sounded like overnight you'd be like a totally new person. Okay, that is misleading, because I believe a lot of us are really different, and in a way we have really upgraded, but you need, again, self-awareness and really to be paying attention to notice stuff like that. So there could be some disappointment here when we wake up to the 31st, where we didn't see the kind of reveals we'd like to see, or have any big events we'd like to have, right? So here we've got the King of Swords in the middle, so that's a truth and integrity card, but it could also be, there could be an arrest that day, or an indictment gets announced, or the announcement of a pending arrest, actually, with that card there. And then here we've got the 5. A lot of people will not understand that arrest or that indictment. So I do feel like an indictment or an arrest, it's a deep state player, somebody who's part of what we're going to call the deep state, but a lot of normies wouldn't see it that way, or wouldn't see them that way. Well, that could be any number of people. That could be any of the Clintons. That could be the Obama. I mean, there's still a whole lot of people that have no clue what a demonic guy he is, or was. I don't even think, like, whatever's coming, and if it is an arrest, it's not going to be of an actual person who's still with us. I feel like it's whoever it is, they've already been arrested a long time ago. They were picked up a long time ago. So that's promising. I hope that comes to pass on the 31st, because this looks like certainly we're going to hear about somebody very officially has a judgment against them. So indictments come to mind and arrests come to mind. Yeah. So anyway, wow. So now let's look at November 1st. Not getting big money. Like the cards at least aren't talking about big money situations. That feels like it came with that silver price going so high and then backed off. So I think they're really just really plainly in your face, showing you just how we've been manipulated. The markets have been manipulated. I feel like they're showing you how the thing happens. And I don't think silver is going to stay in the lower place. I think it's finding a base, like people are saying, and I think it will climb back up. That's just my interpretation of what I've been getting with the cards lately. So I bet you Jean-Claude will ask me tonight about it. So, and very likely we'll talk about it Thursday on the public Rumble. But anyway, let's have a look at November 1st. Both of these cards are really unique and sovereign, so that's interesting. Some kind of a freedom gets revealed, or some kind of a place we are, the place we are, as opposed to what it looks like out there. That's actually, that would be a good thing. We finally get a little glimpse at where we're headed and what actually is coming, it looks like. Something that'll make us happy. Okay, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And it's not that it happens that day on the 1st, but we get a glimpse of something to come that is going to make us happy, especially this community. Okay, and even some of the normies might get it. Okay, but not too many with this little card here. This pages are just little, and it could even bring some more normies over our way, which would be great. Okay, so two of like the powers that be in the background, that have been in the background. So White Hat Alliance, that's what I've been calling them. Cliff calls them the sock. He doesn't talk much about the sock anymore, so I don't know if he even believes in the sock anymore, but I definitely still get in the cards White Hat Alliance and the Trump team still doing their thing. I really do get that solidly, even though Ben Fulford definitely disagrees with me these days anyways, pretty much said Trump's a total, deep state guy at this point. But I'm still not getting that. The cards don't tell me that, so I'm not going to say it until, I'm not going to go there because my cards aren't going there. Okay, so we've got the Temperance here and the Nine of Cups. So the Nine of Cups is saying, over time, this is something we've wished for, and it has something to do with independence, sovereignty, financial independence, and a really unique way to gain financial independence. So I don't know exactly what this is talking about, but it puts in the spotlight, and this looks like it happens on November 1st, some way that a person could become really financially independent and or gets us that much closer to independence as humans, or lets us in on the fact that we already are more independent. We've been freed for a large degree from this, our overlords. We just don't know it for sure yet, but I feel like you get a big glimpse of that and what's coming in the good sense. So November 1st looks good. That looks like a good day. Okay, let's look at November 2nd. Wow. That's a cool card there, the Ace of Pentacles. Ooh, now we're seeing some financial moves here. This looks to do with the financial market or the world of finance or banking world, or something to do with our monies and or things we would think of as abundance. So right now, not all the world, but a lot of the world believes your financial state's your abundance. I actually don't believe that. I think your health, number one, because you couldn't enjoy anything if you don't have any health to do it with. Your physical body, the shape it's in, and I don't mean literally the shape. I mean how you're feeling in it is really what I mean by that. And can you move around in it? You know what I mean? Because if you're bedridden, for instance, you got all the wealth in the world, but you can't really get out and enjoy any of it. That's not so good, right? Yeah. So health, number one, abundance. And then of course there's your ability to joy, to see the beauty of the world, to have a childlike amazement of the world, to have people to share that with, like even just a few really good, close people, family. Like stuff like that comes first, and then how much abundance, but of course your ability to share it, because it makes it more fun. Just having it all sitting in the bank, that's what the deep state and the dark cultures do. We need to, like, if I'm accumulating it, it's only so I can share it and help other people get to where they want to go. That's literally how I think about it. Okay, so this card here, we've got the Lovers. There's some kind of so Ace of Pentacles, money situation shifting. I feel like I get an outing. So there's an outing of something and it corrects something, corrects the market. Maybe this is to do with silver and gold again. Maybe this is to do with some kind of news that corrects something that's otherwise been misconstrued, is kind of how I'm getting it. So I'm not sure what I'm talking about there. I'm not sure let me just see if I can get another. Something that's been hidden from us, yeah, and misunderstood and misconstrued, yeah. And it looks like There's some kind of government intervention, because this card can mean government intervention. Okay, some kind of government intervention that actually writes something or puts something right. So it's not a bad kind of overreach government. This is like a good government, some kind of a where we might get a glimpse of there's actually a good government working on our behalf in the background. And at first, people are alarmed at it and fearful, especially normie. We're not. This community thinks it's good, and we see the beauty of that. Whatever this is, we see the beauty of it. But there's a whole group of like sort of people uninformed who at first feel like it's threatening to them. But we'll see that it's actually moving us forward and we're going in the right direction. And that's financially. And we'll see our abilities heightening for abundance in the future because of the move. But at first, it won't look good to the normies. So we'll have to keep an eye on the markets, the silver market that day, news about world financial events that day. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Thank you, everybody. Sending you all ravens. And it looks like, at the beginning, though, there's still going to be stress around what you can and can't say. So I feel like, it'll come back here, but there's still going to be controlling. And that might lift all of a sudden, but down the road. So I feel like there's still going to be a controlling hand over what you can and can't say.
So it's a yes, it's going to happen, but kind of in a weird way, and it's going to be scary at first. Okay. Yeah. I have a supplemental question, because as you know, since I'm on my third YouTube reboot, every time I post a video with you, they delete it. They just say, oh, we're not giving you a strike. We're just deleting this content based on our community guidelines. They don't say which. And I've tried to get more details. I assume it's because you've been deleted before and I've been deleted before, and together they just don't like it. They don't want us to do shows together. I'm assuming that's why it's still there. There's a note somewhere on file. I don't know. Will that be lifted to the point where you and I could do YouTube videos together?
Eventually, but not at first. So they're going to take their time on that.
Same. Okay. Because it's funny. My stuff and your stuff, whether we have it on pay-per-view, on your Tarot by Janine, or even here on Rumble, people take it, in a can, duplicate it, and put it on YouTube. Those are fine. They stay up there all the time. But as soon as I have you on my YouTube channel, that's when it gets deleted. So weird. Okay, so we have to deal with that for a little bit longer. Okay, Janine, let's do your Sending Ravens and Tarot by Janine. Let's just put them in the same box here. Are you going to get your YouTube channels back? And it's curious, too, because I'm like, if they do, I don't know. How do I consolidate? I'd rather they just consolidated all my subscribers and put them into one channel. Now I'll have 3 channels with different subscriber bases everywhere. It's going to be confusing. Oh, I have another supplemental for you. So let's go with that first. Are you going to get it back? What does that look like?
So that looks like a yes. I'm not sure, maybe one of them and not the other, because this card's, there's a percentage of it. So maybe it means a percentage of the, a percentage of the people that were, what's that called? Subscribed. Yeah. So I might lose a lot of subscriptions.
Yeah.
Or maybe they don't, maybe the channels come with no subscribers, just the channel maybe.
Oh, it'll come back to 0 maybe. And you have to rebuild it. Ah, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this says, so it could take, so they're saying that, but it could take up to 3 months for me.
Yeah. Wow. A bunch of people in the chats are asking about James Comey. Yeah. It's on my deck. We'll get to it in just a moment. Don't worry. We'll talk about the ostriches too. Janine, don't move the cards. Hold on. Let's do supplemental too. The one thing they don't talk about there, they're saying, oh, it wasn't our fault. It was the Biden administration's fault, right? Because they were pressuring us. But what happens to the lost revenue? You and I had revenue at that point. That's what paid the bills. Are they is this a road to us maybe getting some recourse there financially for what we lost, or we're up shit creek?
Well, I think we'd have to really fight for that. So they're going to hang on to it and not give us anything. But there does look like down the road, there could be a way to it, but we'll have to take action ourselves.
Yeah, and you and I don't have time for that stuff. Like,
No.
you know, we're gonna have to let it go, I think. But it's just frustrating because, and again, in their letter they said they won't do it again. But who's to trust them? They won't do it again. And honestly, this is my personal gripe with Rumble. We had a little bit of ad revenue here, not as much as we had on YouTube, but it was something here on Rumble. And you remember last year when they did that whole adpocalypse thing, and everybody was complaining to us because there was a gazillion ads suddenly on all of our videos for which we had no control over. Remember? Well, people eventually just went and bought the premium Rumble package to where they're not being served ads anymore. So we've lost about 75% of the revenue here on Rumble. So still, again, like, we're creating all this content, we got robbed on YouTube, and now we're kind of like getting stiffed here on Rumble, because here they were telling us, hey, come over here, we'll treat you well. YouTube's bad, we'll give you ad revenue here. Yeah, that didn't last too long either, but at least we're not being censored here on Rumble. So we have to be thankful for that. And on that note, we have to be very thankful, of course, to the people who support you, Janine, on tarotbyjanine.com. It's what makes it possible, because the ad monetization here just is not paying the bills, so to speak. So a big thank you to everyone supporting Janine there at tarotbyjanine.com, and a big thank you, of course, to all of you supporting us here on beyondmystic.net with the IAP pass on sale now at 15% off if you use the code IAP15. And of course, you can do pay-per-view one episode at a time here to support us there as well. While you're there, check out the new soaps from Janine there. Absolutely cool stuff. BM10 is your coupon code. If you need to restock on all of these amazing soaps, that's the place to be. And of course, silver in the news in a big way. If you're looking for silver, check out the silver form there as well. Andy still has some junk silver for you guys, but things are changing really rapidly in the silver market. We'll get into that here just a little bit later into the show as well. Okay, so next up, Janine, on our slide deck, let me see if we can rebuild this here. Yeah, James Comey. Trump said 2-3 days ago that this guy should be indicted, and now it appears that he is. 3 hours ago, this is making breaking news here. Now, there were questions today about the statutes of limitations on some of the stuff that he may or may not be indicted for. This is early, so I haven't read all the charges yet affecting Mr. Comey. That said, it seems to be a step in the right direction. Just a couple of days before that, Trump was asking Pam Bondi to basically get off her ass and start doling out some justice here. So it looks like this one is the first one out of the gate in terms of this indictment. So let's do a first pull on that. What we need to hear is this just kind of like distraction, sideshow? Does this actually lead to serious justice and maybe him spilling the beans on other people? Where are we on this whole story with James Comey?
Notice that that's a page, so it's just the beginning. Okay, so it's just the beginning, and then we've got the Two of Pentacles. So I don't think that real juicy stuff's revealing on this particular one just yet. And see, we've got the Hanged Man there. Mm-hmm. So this is they're just giving us a little taste. And here we've got the Page of Cups. So there's some surprises, and it moves in a surprising direction. Okay, but I don't think this is like the big blast of arrests we're looking for just yet.
Okay. So it's kind of a small distraction.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of distractions. There's the government shutting down. There's this talk of maybe World War III starting just around the corner. Let's get into that, actually. But first, Trump just revealed the new Walk of Fame here in the West Wing. So let's see all of the beautiful picture frames there of all of our past presidents on the wall here. And if you guys haven't seen this, you're going to laugh here in just about a second or two. But yeah, Barack Obama there. And then Trump. First term, and then who's that? Oh, Joe Biden. There you go. And Trump there, of course, the mugshot for the current sitting president. So yeah, we have an auto pen in between there, Janine. I thought that was absolutely funny. So yeah, speaking of distractions, just throwing bones as usual is what Heidi Vandenberg says there on the Comey thing. Yeah, it looks like that for now. And of course, this whole Epstein thing is still nowhere to be discussed. Although it was funny because they keep saying this whole thing is a fraud, and yet Trump just the other day said, "Oh yeah, you know that guy George Soros and his other friends who visited Epstein Island? Yeah, they're probably going to be indicted for RICO and blah 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 and Antifa funding and all that." So he keeps talking and associating them to Epstein Island, but on the other hand, he says, "No, nothing happened on Epstein Island. Go away." So it's kind of confusing here, Janine. So we have to laugh about it a little bit. Okay, so next up, government shutdown here just around the corner. The U.S. government will go into a partial shutdown of non-essential services next week unless Trump agrees to give the Democrats $500 million for NPR and free healthcare for illegal aliens. So that's interesting because now they're preparing for mass layoffs. So the White House orders agencies to prepare for mass layoffs plans in the event of a shutdown. Now, we've had many talks of, furloughing the staff and government shutdowns before and debt ceilings and blah, blah, blah. And for the most part, there were some perturbations, but not really. It's always business as usual when you think about it, and the government keeps on growing. Is this kind of like the tipping point here, or the turning point to where actually now we're going in the other direction here? I wanted you to do that first poll, and then I'm going to ask you on a second poll why maybe that is. I have a few ideas. But are we starting to turn a corner here, and are we actually looking at mass layoffs here at the government level, whether that's for AI or other reasons here? We'll get to that in just a moment.
I wonder if some of those layoffs already happened. See that 10? That's in the background, or that's already happened. And
well, quite a few people accepted the early retirements, right? So those are kind of like attrition layoffs, if you want to call them that, after the Doge effort. So that would have happened in the back, sure. But here they're not talking about those because those are already on the record. They're talking about new layoffs. Okay. What do you see?
Okay, and so now we've got the Three of Pentacles here. So something's building. They're building something. And this is the Three of Wands. So looking at doing government in a totally new way. I feel like they're going to present something that cuts it down maybe in half. So this is a 60-40. So let's say 60-40. They're going to take it way down. I do think they will. And to have a whole new way or present a whole new direction. And I think it will happen because this looks like it's already in progress. They're already doing it. There's something happening where government goes in a completely new direction. And we won't hear about it. So it's already started and happening. And the general population might not really catch on right away. Like, I feel like it's already happening. We're going to know about it. This community's already seeing it happen, or will see it before the regular population figures it all out.
Okay, so something is happening and it's being planned here. So I'm going to try to tie a few pieces together then. So there's Three-Eye Atlas, okay? And if you've been following that in the last couple of days, it seems that it has more and more visitors. And this is mainstream news, and our astronomers also saying that. And we also found some structures, I think it was the moon of Jupiter. So I'll add that to the mix in just a moment. But this here maybe has something to do with what's going on also. Hegseth orders, so the Secretary of War, Hegseth orders rare, urgent meeting of hundreds of generals and admirals. Nobody knows why. It's set for next week. They don't know the reason. Giorgiani, Jason, put out a few hypotheses today. He says, I'm sorry to say it looks like we're heading towards World War III, as he had predicted. He says, it could also be Something having to do here. He talks about the deep state or perhaps the secret space program. So the brickway civilization, I think, is what he's getting at here without saying the word. So either we're going towards World War III, and Trump just ordered NATO to shoot down Russian jets here, incursioning in other territories, and or might be going into this next phase here of the war against the deep state. I added something to that because I texted Jason just after, and I said, where did it go? I think it's this one here. I said, maybe the third option, space aliens. You and I have been getting this since we got that second moon orbiting the sun, orbiting our planet last year in October, to now what's happening with 3i Atlas. So let's try to break this down here. I'm sorry I'm putting all this together for you guys here, but this whole hundreds of generals and admiral meeting next week. Let's do a first poll. What's this all about? Is this a distraction? Is just for show? Is this to give them their marching orders here that something is around the corner and everything's is about to change? And does that tie into perhaps government non-essential functions shutting down in a big way here, Janine? What's that first poll?
Interesting. 3 of Pentacles. So whatever it is, they knew it was coming. So it's not a surprise. And this has been planned for a long time. With that 3 of Pentacles, it's like something's been in the works and built on a firm foundation. And it has something to do with ending something. This card, taking something to the end of its cycle. So sort of the birthing of something new at the same time as taking down something. Something comes down and something's already been built in its place. That's how I'm getting that. And here we've got, this is the war card, but we're in the war. So the Third World War is already ongoing. We've been in it for a while. Okay, so but it really starts to show to the general population. They kind of figure out we're in a war, although we've known for years. Mm-hmm. Okay, now we've got the Emperor in the near future. So I feel like whatever they're saying about that is more for the benefit of the general population to catch them up to speed that we've been in a war. Ace of Pentacles. And there's something about moving power. So the message for our community is we're going to see a shift in power. Where I think they've already created it, but we're going to visually see a shift in power.
So a shift in power away from the deep state and more towards the people? A shift in power towards off-world versus on-world? What do you see?
Through truth and integrity, so a swing more towards away from deep state, and we'll get a clearer vision of who's really been running things and where we're really sitting in the war.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, Heidi's saying Janine always pulls this and it seems to be financial. Does this have something to do with the some type of financial reset or reboot of sorts? We're seeing gold and silver go absolutely crazy here in the last 2 weeks, hitting all-time highs. Not in silver yet, but almost. In gold, definitely, of course. Something seems to be up here and everybody knows about it, but yet we're not being told in the mainstream news. Do you want to do a supplemental on that, on how that ties in?
So we're moving away from something and bringing it into a more abundant way of doing it. So this could be financial. Yeah, I'm glad Heidi brought that up. See that? 3 of Pentacles. And then we've got an Ace of Pentacles and a 5 of Pentacles, bringing in a new financial system, leaving something behind and bringing something in that's more beneficial for humanity and maybe based in gold or backed by something that brings us into a more abundant period.
And so that comes into a little bit more clarity. I mean, we've been talking about that for years. It seemed a little bit more clear maybe in the last 6 months, or at least since Trump has been in office. He's talking about the golden age and all that stuff. the strategic reserve for Bitcoin and all that. Are we going to see more clarity on this here very soon?
Oh yeah, Wheel of Fortune. So things happen really fast, and through a series of changes, or all of a sudden big changes coming, I feel like, yeah, it kind of, things are going to really speed up here.
Huh. Okay. Let me go here next. You can shuffle the cards, Janine. We need all of the major arcanas for this next pool. So this was posted earlier today. This is Joni Petrie, her prediction for October 25. She says, the turning point that changes everything. And so I wanted to remind you guys also of the Singularity show I did with Cliff High. If you want to see that data, go to beyondmystic.net/singularity. There you'll see all of the background information for that episode, as well as these charts here, including this one here, which were the weekly emotional tension values through 2025. And remember, this was given to me last October. And here we are now, just on the verge of hitting that 102 here, first week of October. Can we just do you want to do a 7-card pull, Janine, to look into October and why perhaps it's a tipping point or a turning point? And I'll remind the audience members too that just a couple of weeks ago, I had an old, not Alta report, but an IDIR report from Cliff High pop into my car, and Cliff asked me to publish it. It was from 2014, and in it he was talking about a tipping point. And so the next day, of course, Charlie Kirk, whose company is named The Turning Point, well, we know what happened there, or maybe we don't. But anyways, the turning point situation was being put in front of us here as a qualia. So very interesting to say the least. So what do you see here for the month of October? Why and how is it a tipping point or a turning point, Janine, for us?
It's a tipping point for finances, I'm thinking. So we've got the Sun card, which could be already something that's happening with gold, could already be signaling it. It's really well aspected. So this is in the past. So whatever's coming that shows itself this month looks financial, because that's the hidden influence. So that's the beginning of something. It's not the very beginning, because it's not a page. But it gets a little more on solid ground, and it looks financial again. Okay, but it's already been created, and it looks like it's gold related, or somehow related to, maybe backed by gold. So there's a new system, I'm thinking. And here we've got the King of Swords. So this is in the now. So that's a truth card, truth and integrity. Possibly that emotional like height could come from joy, maybe not angst.
Well, yeah, because here these emotional tension values, they're neither positive nor negative. It's release values or tension values. You could be releasing anger like you can be releasing joy. We just don't know until we get there. So you're absolutely right, Janine. Interesting.
Yeah, the underneath cards kind of give me that idea, because they're really well aspected. 3 of Cups. 3 of Cups is a celebration card.
Uh-huh.
And this is a government card, or a lot of government coming together with a cause to celebrate. So I don't think it'll just be the US. I think that whatever's coming affects a lot of, it'll be brought out by a lot of governments, or maybe even a whole new approach to what we're calling government.
Wow.
And truth and integrity is the next thing that happens. So some big truth bomb.
Okay.
And then here we've got the 8. Then the next thing that happens, then it feels like, so for part of, right at the beginning, some kind of truth bomb, which might be the big emotional tension. But then all of a sudden it feels like they pull back on the information and just sit there, like they do sometimes, where now nothing happens for a while, or a whole bunch of drama over here that's not really. So we get this truth bomb, but then it sort of steps backwards, and it's like a waiting game, part of October. hidden influence is it moves us carefully in all new territory financially, but on firm footing. So I feel like we get this thing presented that could be a new way to do finances. But this is definitely positive for humanity, looking at the card here.
Mm-hmm.
And here we've got the Page of Swords. So we get the news about it. See, these two want to give us more information. This is like news, and this card can be even gossip and innuendo, but it's just the beginning of, so we hear something and we know about when it's going to happen, but then we got to wait till it happens. And it might not happen till the very end of the month, because then all of a sudden we got the Chariot. And now it's like, this is like, something hits the pavement here. It's like all of a sudden really fast. The very end of the month here, though. So there's this great news bomb or drop, and then lots of time to kind of like mull it over and look into it kind of thing, because we got this lull period. Okay, hidden influences, it's financial and it's something to the benefit of us. Okay, so we hear about it and then the thing doesn't really hit till the very end of the month.
Okay. That's fascinating. So just to put it on the record for the people watching the show, silver's at 45.27 USD right now, spot price, which is absolutely crazy. There's a breakout of the cup and handle formation. People were talking about a $300 target. I can show you Bix Weir's video from earlier today if you want to go see it on roadtoruler.com. Gold is at 37.61. We hit 3800 just yesterday. So crazy there as well. Now, Lucky Clover Bulldog says, yeah, the Cliff High video that you shared, JC, was spooky accurate. Guys, if you haven't seen that, you're looking for this video here, Tipping Point. That's the poster you're looking for. I think it's on my Rumble, yes, and also on my YouTube. And again, this was recorded in 2014, and he was talking about $40 silver, okay, which is fascinating. And he was talking about some type of political denouement where suddenly we didn't have mass adoption of crypto, but we had an understanding that, okay, there was a big openness now from officialdom to get into crypto. And when you look at Trump being office now, the Strategic Reserve, and now this new Genius Act being put forward, that could be some of the details you're looking for here in the beginning of October. So Cliff putting all that together in 2014, absolutely wild stuff. Again, go check it out. Yes, indeed, it was spooky. Speaking of Cliff, spooky also on this one. So let's go here, Janine, and look at the ET card or the alien card here that's about to be played, or presumably about to be played here, perhaps from many different aspects of the game here. So on one hand, again, through Atlas, we're seeing more and more weird anomalies to suggest that, one, it's not alone, two, it's doing some things that suggest it's artificially controlled or intelligently controlled. It's got some friends coming into the solar system at the same time. And we also have what appears to be somewhat of a malaise in some of our militaries around the world, kind of freaking out about the situation here. And that we're hearing kind of like third-hand information of, but still, there's something that's not comfortable right now for officialdom around the world with respect to this ET card. So let's just ask the first question here. Are they, officialdom, going to play their fake alien card first to try to get control of the narrative of what might be the 3i Atlas and company just around the corner here, supposing to arrive in October, closer to the planet and perhaps also behind the sun? Are they about to play that first card first, Janine, from the officialdom standpoint? Or are we going to see actual aliens all at the same time with the fake alien invasion card?
Interesting. I feel like they're holding off on the fake alien invasion and going to play the money card first. So they're going to put the money first before the alien. And that might have been a recent development. And so they've almost like they haven't decided exactly. And then I think the real aliens show up maybe towards the end of the month or into the next month. So end of October into November, because I feel like these two cards around this aren't fake. This is more real. Okay, so it's karmic and just and timely, and they've been coming for a really long time. They've been on their way for a really long time, and they show up here. So we're right on the cusp of the real dudes showing up. Meanwhile, the White Hat Alliance looks like it's put on hold the fake alien invasion, or maybe even intercepted the bad guys' version of it, and they're going to play some big money card in October.
Okay, so money first, and then maybe the ETs show up. And this whole ET showing up thing, you've had this in your cards for quite some time now. Again, starting last year with that other moon that was orbiting us. Just wanted to share that. Alien, I think Heidi is not too sure about the aliens, and I think this is a big cause of debate and consternation between her and Cliff. I'd love to see and listen to that debate sometime. So Cliff and Heidi, if you want to come on the show and debate your take on this alien stuff, more than happy to have you on anytime, any day, and twice on a Sunday. So just so you know. Okay, this was the video I was talking about, guys. If you haven't seen it, Big Square, he's talking about Francis Hunt here, stating that $330 is the target for silver here, confirming this massive breakout here of the cup and handle pattern we just hit today. So fascinating video. Go check it out. That's on roadtorooted.com. With respect to the ET stuff, more weirdness, of course, here. This was the James Webb telescope just detecting unexplained structures in Saturn's atmosphere. And more news coming out here from our astronomers around the world saying that the interstellar object 3I Atlas is making its way closer to Earth. And research say it's probably not alone. So there's some weird stuff happening there as well. So we'll stay tuned for all of that as we move forward. Now, next, let's look at this digital ID thing. Well, what are we at? We're at 46 minutes in. Okay, so we're doing pretty good. We have so much things to cover with you guys here tonight. And yes, I'll get into the ostriches a little bit later into the show as well. So in the UK, Prime Minister Keir Starmer is set to sign a law mandating digital ID for every adult in the UK. Was it in Vietnam just last week? Also, they were forcing digital ID on everyone, and everyone who choose not to suddenly were locked out of their bank accounts, a couple of million people, right? So now they're suggesting the same here in the UK. And I want to bring your focus into this one. Concerned Citizen says, first comes digital ID, next comes CBDC. Think about the Genius Act here, and perhaps the ban, not so ban on CBDCs here in the United States, followed by a social credit score, and finally, your personal CO2 tracker, right? Are you awake yet to what's happening? So this appears to be what is still being planned by some officialdom players around the world. And we're seeing it now play out in the UK. People are worried that it might come here in the United States as well. Let's do a general poll on whether this old plan of forcing us into this new financial system towards this digital ID, which was COVID, the vaccination cards, all that stuff, if that's still in the plan, are they still rolling it out because, they didn't get the memo yet that the war's over and that they lost? How much more of this digital ID stuff do we have to suffer moving forward? Or is it continuing fight here, just like the people in Ireland fighting their country? We have to fight against digital ID here moving forward. And that's still very much in the cards. Even if it's just for humanity to be able to say, no, hell no, we're not taking it. What's the whole story with this, Janine?
Okay, I think they're rolling out something totally different, but they're telling you the old plan still. So I'm not buying that that's going to happen the way they're saying. They're rolling something out, but it'll be good for humanity, so it can't be that, right? And something else entirely different's coming. While they're out of one side of their mouth, they're saying this is coming. Something else totally different that's actually for the good of humanity shows up. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's what it looks like is going on. And here, so the end of it. So I feel like we put it to rest once and for all here. Even in the next, I'm going to say 2 or 3 months, we're never going to I feel like we're never going to hear about that demonic system again. I really do.
That could be kind of what Joni Petrie was talking about here, this turning point that we never go back after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it feels like they're trying to get, right now, the agenda looks like they're trying to, for a long time, they were trying to show everybody who's your enemy. Okay, the government, the big pharma, your religious leaders, who's your enemy? You know, and they're trying to get these people to understand that they're in a war between good and evil. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people really behind on that, but they're trying to catch them up to that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do I leave it there? Do I want to go back? Let's leave it there for now. I think that's good for now. Let's look at this too, because you were just about to leave, I think, for Ireland when this happened. We did a show. I think it was live that day. We were kind of struck. We did a show on this when it happened. We're talking about the event that happened surrounding this person. This is an interesting tweet from Carrie Cassidy, and I have to say I'm kind of leaning in her direction here, having looked at this more and more over the last 2 weeks. There's so many anomalies, so many, like it's hard to to count them all. But she says here, Carrie Cassidy, this is on her Twitter, the most bizarre twist of faith is that the very guy who was famous for trying to teach his followers to be critical thinkers, well, when they were given the ultimate final test, they failed miserably. His death was a false flag, faked assassination, she says. There's a lot of weird stuff around this story, and I have to say his wife didn't really do a good job also, and so many things we could talk about here too, like the symbology, the rings, the role playing, the acting, all of this stuff, and the deep connections. I just like, at a certain point last week, I had to stop looking at it, because the more I looked at it, the more I got angry that this whole thing is just a big show and a big facade. I didn't talk to you since you were in Ireland about this story per se. You've been following the news on your side too. Right now, where do you stand on this? Oh yeah, the Snake Eyes movie too. Like when I saw the stuff on that too, I was just like, Janine and I were like, actually, yeah, you and I did share that video. Yeah. So where are you on this whole thing? Distraction, what's going on, the purpose of it all? A lot of people are saying it's a distraction actually having to do with the financial system, which I thought was odd. I tweeted a few things about that in the last couple of days. Where are you on this, Jane?
Well, I would say it is a big distraction, and I feel like there was a whole bunch of agendas they were using it for. White Hat Alliance. They're using it for all these agendas. And it feels to me, I get offended like you, because it was such an emotional, like everyone's jumping on board. I mean, one of the first things that happened in the Truther Day there that we had on the 20th here in Ireland was somebody had us all do a moment of silence, and I didn't want to do it. I was like, I'm not going to do a moment of silence for a psyop. I'm listening to this. It's been proven without a doubt it was a psyop, and the cards said it from the get-go before I even thought, was it or wasn't it? It was really obvious. And then when the Snake Eyes movie, I mean, the guys even got the same name. Come on. I know. You guys go look up the Snake Eye movie.
Charlie Kirkland. Yeah, exactly.
Charlie Kirkland, shot in the neck. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Okay. So and then of course, the more you find out about his wife, and remember at the very beginning, I'm like, something's fishy about that family.
Yeah.
Okay. There's something super fishy about that fake family that he's got going on there. And it was just, anyway, the very first question they asked me in Ireland, and this was after they did the moment of silence, and then the whole day happened. Then I was the very last one to go on. And somebody said, well, what's really going on with the Charlie Kirk thing? And then the cards totally agreed that, it was a big psyop, and it's to maybe bring, a whole bunch of eyes on the fact that, the deep state's been trying to get everybody to really hate on white male Christian males and family men. Yeah. Right. And they're trying to take down the family. I mean, I think there's about 10 agendas they used it for, but they did get a lot of eyes on their and a lot of sympathy. And I guess maybe they were going for that. And that's the only way I'll even tolerate it at this point.
Yeah, because the whole thing about the minute of silence, I mean, generally speaking, of course, anybody who was on the front line being assassinated or hurt for doing their job, or Mark Atwood, losing his event venue just before a big event, all that, like, they deserve our respect. Absolutely. That's not what we're dishing at. It was funny because on one hand, some of us who are awake were refusing to give that minute of respect for a psyop. But on the other hand, on the mainstream news, we had all the liberals here in Canada refusing to stand up for the moment of silence for Charlie Kirk's assassination in the House of Commons. And again, so it was all politicized. Like, every angle you looked at this, I wanted to puke. I was just like, I was getting very, very frustrated with the whole thing. Then, of course, Kash Patel coming out, "Oh, brother, I'll see you in Valhalla." Valhalla being a code word for WITSEC, or Witness Protection Programs.
Yeah.
So again, there's a lot of weird stuff to that story. So, okay, we're both on the same page. I think a lot of people are disappointed in all of this too. Where it leads, not exactly sure right now. Like you said, there's many agendas being played out. One could spend the next year just decoding all the crazy videos, the different angles, and what's happening, and who's doing what, and who's passing what to who, and who's signaling who. And again, I don't care. At this point, I can't stand it. I don't want to look at it anymore. I just want to move on. And I think most of the audience members wants to move on too. And this is an unfortunate shot, but yeah, she's kind of giving the middle finger here. This person says to everybody who believed her performance, right? So, yeah, it's if it's a white hat op, like right now, I see more frustration from our community than actual benefit to it right now. Maybe we'll eventually see the benefit to it later on. We'll see. If you were to guess, or maybe you can pull cards, what is the benefit of this PSYOP if we move the needle down maybe 3 to 6 months from now? What do you think? Yeah, Heidi's saying, yeah, it makes me think there's no good guys anywhere. Yeah, because when they resort to some of these tactics, I remember Cliff saying, well, this was maybe 15 years ago, when we were debating whether or not there was a SOC, self-organizing collective, right? There were big swear out there saying, no, there's good guys and they're working to destroy the Fed and the gold and blah, blah, blah. And Cliff at the time was like, nah, there's no good guys. There's nobody coming to help you. And then we were kind of to see a little bit more behind the curtain. And we eventually saw, okay, there's kind of this weird thing. It's not like before, it's decentralized, this self-organizing collective. But then he said, if it's actually there, and it looks like it is, I remember one of his first thoughts was that they had to be more Catholic than the Pope, excuse the expression. Like, they would have to be like pure in their intention and their ways, as to not be ever confused with the deep state and all those tactics that have been used against us, because the population wouldn't have it. And now you look at this a couple of years into it, the fake president being in that White House and all this stuff, like, we've been lied to over and over by both sides for many years now. And this is why a lot of people are frustrated and kind of long in the tooth with this whole show or movie that we're seeing. So, Janine, what is the positive benefit of this particular PSYOP here in the next 3 to 6 months?
I think it's a distraction and moving over to a big money shift. So we got a big financial shift about to happen, and somehow creatively they're going to tie it in. I have no idea how, but somehow they're going to tie it into that. And this card tells me that everybody was in on it. So like the fake wife, because that's an actress. And if he really even did have a wife. And like, remember, I was getting that he got replaced a long time ago.
Yeah.
So the real guy is either in protective custody or died at some other point. Yeah. Right. So the first time we looked at it, it didn't look like the real guy was involved at all. And possibly was replaced some time ago. And I think that's what that's telling us. So everyone's in on it. And it's really going to be about money. It'll move. The dial gets moved over to a new financial system coming in. I don't see the connection myself. I'm not seeing it. Okay, but this part says, just wait. We're not going to see it at first. So they got this creative way they're going to tie it all in. Okay, but I do feel like a lot of people will go down, it'll go down in history, this particular PSYOP, as one of their least favorite and most disappointing to the truther people. I feel like they actually really kind of screwed this one up.
Okay. Yeah. Frustrating. You want to talk about some ostriches? Because to me, it's just as...
I never want to talk about Charlie, what's his name, ever again. Like,
Okay.
seriously.
Okay. I'm with you on that one. I hesitated tonight, but everyone wanted a bit of a heads up on it. So, all right, we'll leave it at that. Enough with the psyops, somebody says in the chat. Yeah, let's leave that one go. Honestly, the whole ostrich thing, to me, smells just as bad. And it's not the ostriches that smell bad, poor creatures. But this is also a psyop. So okay, so this is a long-standing weird fucking affair to the point now where this farm, and here's the thing, just a little bit of background. There was a bird flu, I don't know, 6-10 months ago. The birds have healed from it, but since then the government of Canada still persists in saying that this is a threat and that this could create more harm to Canadians, and that this particular batch of 400 or 300 or so ostriches need to be culled or killed. And so now we've had one intervention after the other for the last number of months. Dr. Oz was in on it. The State Department was on it in the States also. But still, the Canadian government pushing. And everybody's wondering, why? The birds are healthy. And all these months of you guys pushing, the birds are still healthy. And nobody understands why. Well, if you go back a little bit, at the beginning of this story, on this particular farm, they were doing testing with these ostriches to find pathogens, or what was the word I'm looking for? Antibodies for COVID-19, right? So I think that is the real threat. And again, if you think that's all crazy, and okay, maybe it's all crazy, but just so you know, a police officer who was investigating premature baby deaths in Ottawa here that went off the chart after the COVID vaccination just got handed her sentence here 2 weeks ago. Talking about COVID and finding solutions to COVID is still very much a big problem here in this country and in many countries around the world. I think that is more the story here than the bird flu that, apparently the birds are still healthy, and they have all of these veterinarians who attest to the fact that these birds are healthy now. So what just happened in the last 2 days, the Supreme Court of Canada did grant a stay of proceedings. So basically they're halting the call one more time here. They had some interventions by some of the native groups in that area as well here. So it was funny because last week, every day, Janine, it was like a slow motion thing. The RCMP are on the way to the farm, Janine. And then the RCMP are on the farm. They're setting up tents, Janine. And then the next day, the RCMP are about to call the... I'm like, oh my God. Like, why is this happening? Why is this so slow? And then Rebel News...
what I got first when I first looked at it?
Yeah.
They were going to take you to the edge. Of like several times. It was going to be like a nonstop, almost going to kill the ostriches, and then they back off. And that's exactly what they've been doing. So I don't know.
I'm giving you credit here. I'm just giving you a blow by blow of everything these guys are saying and doing that matches your card pull from a year ago. It's been one thing after the other. And the last one was just 2-3 days ago. Rebel News, okay, the RCMP's in the air now. They're going to shoot them from their helicopters. And like, come on, every day we had a news story coming out. Like, everybody's feeding this. Like, it's a crazy frenzy. At any rate, right now there's a stay of proceedings, so they're saved once again, temporarily. So, Janine, where does this end, please? Like, are we almost there, Janine, to let this one go as well?
I'm going to do the 7-card spread.
All right. Because, the real question is, too, it's not just when does this, because it is a PSYOP, and then a PSYOP, when does it end? But does it end in us understanding what the real story was about? Not the bird flu, but some type of antibody to COVID or putting these vaccines to shame or whatever, does it end there? And that's why this fight keeps going on right now, because they can't have that in public discourse.
Well, this is definitely a psyop. So see the high priestess here?
Mm-hmm.
So there's the real reason they're doing it is a secret, or they're trying to get the secrets out, how psyops are done to us. Okay. So I feel like they're showing us in slow motion in this case exactly how we're manipulated, okay, in these news stories. Okay, because this has been going on for how many years? Like they do these stories, and I think way more than we think they're made up, right? Like there's probably a whole bunch of things out there that we've been totally faked out about, right? And we're just starting to realize just how bad. Also, that it's getting a lot of truth out there. So a lot of people are realizing that government agencies don't care about you or healthy birds. They're just following orders or like RCMP, it's showing you really who they work for. It's breaking down a lot of things for regular folks. We already knew a lot of this stuff, but it's breaking down how they overreach, and they've been overreaching. Maybe people can put 2 and 2 together. It's planting some, seeds for kind of people that aren't watching shows like this. Okay, so a lot of truth's coming out, and a lot of people are waking up to just how demonic the government is and what lengths they would go to. And also even the idea that it might be covering up a potential cure or an investigation for a cure for COVID. Well, why would they want to do that?
Yeah.
Right. So you're right. It's a big, huge.
You know why they want to do that? Because they're unleashing this new strand of COVID. Didn't you know? I heard that on CTV News last night. Janine, be afraid. Be very afraid. This one's worse than the last 12 ones, of course.
My goodness. Yeah. So I feel like, they're just now, this could be a couple of different things. So make sure you guys pay attention to what I'm saying here. Okay. Because I'm going to say 2 different potentials here. Either they shockingly do kill the birds, or so it appears, and they use that for showing you just how demonic you're. Like that'll be a gut punch, right? To a lot of people that actually think their government has their best interest, or that agency that's doing it has their best interest. That'll show a lot of people they don't. Okay, and that could be one thing. But the other way you could read this is that all of a sudden another big, either a gut punch or a shocking thing that happens out in the world takes us in a totally different direction. So I'm going to pull a clarifier to see which way is the universe going to tell us which way that's going to go. It's one of those 2 things is what I'm thinking. Okay. All of a sudden something else takes our attention, and this goes by the wayside again. And then maybe they'll even bring it back up again just to milk it a little more. Okay, so here we've got the emperor in the near future. So that looks like now all eyes are on Trump again. And we've been seeing this a lot lately. So this is leading me to believe that it's likely an outside situation takes all our attention over somewhere else. So this thing gets all forgotten about. They don't even talk about these guys anymore because now they're on to some other big story. And all eyes are on the U.S. again, and all eyes are on Trump.
Financial stuff?
Could be, like I'm going to pull a clarifier, but these 2 underneath do really tell us this is really a psyop. See, it's all a strategy.
Yeah.
So I even think if they do look like they kill the birds, they don't really.
Yeah, you said that before too. Yeah. You said that last year.
That's true. Yeah. So don't try not to get too personally involved in these psyops, you guys.
Yeah.
Be detached and watch. Somebody said it in the comments. Keep it just watching. You're going to need to watch and learn. Yeah. Watch and learn. How do these guys do things? How do they manipulate our emotions? And we're getting fed off of. So if you can learn to be really detached right now, I think you're winning.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to pull a clarifier there, see if we can get the idea there. Yeah, okay, I think it'll go in a totally new direction. And see this card here, we got the king up, but a whole nother psyop might evolve here.
Great.
That's a psyop card.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Now we've got the Empress. Let me just keep looking here in the star. So we've got aliens. A feminine alien.
Huh.
A divine feminine. Okay, and the other way I could read that is Venus. So this stuck out to me, Venus. I wonder if some of the aliens that we're going to meet, because it looked like we could meet real aliens like in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
Okay, so Venus and the star, so they're from Venus.
Venusians.
Okay,
Wow.
I wonder if some of the group of aliens we're going to meet are from Venus.
Wow. What was that story about Valiant Thor? Like, I think that, I think most of that was a psyop, but there was an underlying truth to that. So Venus, interesting. Okay. All right, we'll stay on top of that, Janine. That's interesting. Well, thank you for the ostrich pull. So somebody just asked me in the chat, maybe I misspoke. So I just want to be, did I say premature baby deaths? Bam Lowe's asking, deaths in Canada. She's got proof. So it was maybe not premature. Well, premature. No, premature. Is that during pregnancy or is it after pregnancy? It was sudden deaths that she was investigating. So crib deaths and stuff like that. Like, I forget what's the other term in the crib. But at any rate, just to bring
also
that in.
Miscarriages.
Yeah, that too.
Before they came to term.
Right. But I don't think that is what she was investigating. I thought it was the crib deaths or the huge spike in this. So no, not that one. Hold on. Where did it go? Ottawa police detective found guilty of discreditable conduct over unauthorized child death investigation. So basically, investigating 9 child or infant deaths, right? And so these were premature deaths. And so you're saying, whoa, usually we have 1 a year. And suddenly there's this vaccine and now there's 9 all of a sudden in 2 months. Something wrong is happening. She decided to, and she works at as an investigator. Like, so it was kind of funny. Like, she has the purview to do it, but she was told by officers to let it go. And because she didn't let it go, that's what resulted in this case. So very unfortunate for this police officer. That's what I was talking about, Bamlo. So not premature death, but what's the word I'm looking for, Janine? Sudden deaths. Yeah, sudden deaths or crib deaths. There's another word for crib death. Let me know in the live chat if you know what I'm talking about. SIDS. Yeah, that's the one. There you go. Okay, so going back to the ostrich thing and the COVID stuff and why they don't want this story to go. Look at this. This is the UK 1 day ago. Status: new COVID strain with unique symptoms spreading across the UK. Janine, what you need to know. Oh my god. I've been doing a lot of driving in the last little while, and by mistake, sometimes my car goes to a radio station as opposed to my playlists, and I hear all these fucking commercials. Go get your vaccine and your flu shot. And I'm like, no, change it back to the music. I can't listen to it. But they're still harping on this stuff. What's funny on this one too, I don't know if you had the same reaction, but remember, I think it was in February or March, Trump and RFK said that they were going to release findings as to what was causing autism late in the fall. And you're like, why are they waiting in the fall? Just tell us now. You already fucking know. You've known this for years already. Yeah. And we were all expecting him to say COVID, but now it's like, no, it's Tylenol. And so now we have this huge backlash from mainstream news. Tylenol doesn't cause autism, blah, blah, blah. And of course, now we just found some of the older tweets and older reports that says, oh no, pregnant women should not take those products, right? It's there. It was in their documentation from the get-go. But they didn't go the vaccine route. They went towards Tylenol, which was a surprise to me. I thought this was a lead in to, vaccines cause autism, vaccines are dangerous, mRNA is dangerous. Like, we were going in that direction. And this is taking me in a Tylenol direction, which I didn't see coming. Did you?
Not at all. No. But I got a feeling it's going to build over to. I feel like they got to do it. this zigzag. I feel like we're zigzagging over.
We're zigzagging over. Okay. So let me go find that tweet there. I had it on my deck just before we went live and I lost it. But why Tylenol? Let's just do a poll on that. Why are we talking about Tylenol? And here too, like even the mainstream here in Canada, ha ha ha, Trump's an idiot. He doesn't know he's talking. He's just a buffoon, blah, blah, blah. Tylenol doesn't do this. And yet somebody put out this old video from the CBC from 2020 with this report saying that, yeah, in fact, acetaminophen may have fatal developments here. Anyways, it's just crazy. They're trolling the media and they're getting caught here with this again too. So that's interesting. But why Tylenol? Why go in that direction and not towards the vaccines?
Because it looks really true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like that needs to come out. Think about it. Tylenol's touted as one of the safest things. I know people that daily use Tylenol.
Wow.
Daily use, and it's really bad on your liver. Okay, and it sounds like a whole lot of other things. Okay, so I feel like Tylenol is dangerous. So it's even their safest thing that everyone has. Like Tylenol, you can buy it at 7-Eleven. You can buy it. They're supposed, like people use it. Like I've seen people take 3 Tylenols, easily. Okay, they got themselves a big old headache and they think it's going to help. Okay, so it feels like, first of all, it really is dangerous, and you're probably going to find out even worse things and other things that seem really safe and everyone has them in their household. People give their kids Tylenol.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. And we do need to step away from Tylenol. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it looks like that's a big, because it is true. I think we're going to find, and it does look like it's connected. So I feel like this is just one layer of truth, but there's a whole nother. So that's half of it, but there's a whole nother thing, and they're going to get to it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So they're just getting everybody used to it. Okay. So they're doing this, they're going to sneak it in, the other stuff in.
So it's part of the dismantling of big pharma. And because this is such a pervasive, like you said, off the shelf medication, they're starting there actually before the vaccines. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So they're layering it up. So the more you understand that big pharma is like selling you like Tylenol for your kids and, like really not giving us enough, like doctors. I know I have a niece pregnant right now who was told that it'd be perfectly okay for her to take Tylenol. And I've been sending her all of this, like, because she gets migraines, and they said, oh no, Tylenol's totally safe. That's somebody who deals with pregnant women all the time. So it's a known thing that they're always telling everybody Tylenol's, everybody can just guzzle Tylenol. You know what I mean? It's like, no, it's dangerous. Okay. And a lot of things over the counter they're selling you are actually dangerous and causing these trouble. I feel like they need to make that case. And then even something like you think is safe, like a vaccine, might actually be harming your kids. Hello. You know what I mean? So they got to ease up to this. And I feel like the Alliance is teaching them how to psychologically prepare humanity. I feel like that is how brainwashed we are. We need psychological preparation, and especially if you're of the normie variety. Okay, those people really need a lot of psychological prep for how badly they've been indoctrined.
For sure. Like, this frustrates me to no avail. Okay. So this is CBC yesterday. Health Canada pushes back against Trump's claim about Tylenol and pregnancies. They're pushing back because, he's just crazy. He's a buffoon, they said. And then again, I'm sorry. I'm having too much fun with this. That Captain Kirk, this one here. So look at Canadian state media was saying about Tylenol use during pregnancy just 5 years ago. A growing body of evidence suggests that prenatal exposure to acetaminophen might alter fetal development. You can go watch that. It's on my Twitter. And also, this was the tweet, even from Tylenol, the company itself, on X. We actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant. Thank you for taking the time to voice your concerns to us today. This was 2017. from the Tylenol company. So yet we're seeing our officialdom here in Canada and the rest of the world saying, oh, no, Trump's an idiot. He's a buffoon. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, Tylenol is telling you right there. And all of these studies and scientists were telling you this many years ago too. So yeah, do your own research. But crazy. Yeah, like they're layering thick. And CBC, I mean, they're the worst. During COVID too, they were like, oh no, it doesn't cause blood clots. And they had these people sweating out there lying. And then a week later, oh yeah, sorry, Moderna causes blood clots. So we're going to remove it from the shelf. Like, man, it's just crazy. Like, trust the science. Right? Remember, Janine? Trust your mainstream news. Remember, this is this is real news, not the fake news. Don't listen to Jason Janine. We're going to delete them on YouTube. That's what it was during those years. Hey, let's look at William Shatner, Janine, before we go. And we also have some prizes to give away. But this today, Star Trek icon William Shatner suffered some medical emergency and was rushed to a hospital. Where's Mr. Shatner today, Janine? Is he okay? He's on the deathbed. I saw another article later on because they were being quiet about what the medical emergency was, and finally somebody fessed up and said, oh, it was a blood sugar thing. He called 911, blah blah blah. He was having some issues. So is that true? Something else? What's going on?
I'd say he had a stroke or a heart attack.
Oh shit.
And he's in pretty tough shape. So he's got a 50-50 chance with that card. And it's definitely a serious situation. And it involves his heart.
Huh.
Okay. And here we've got the 10. And I feel like they're covering it up. So that's what you're hearing. And this is what's actually going on. So it's a real thing. And you're hearing, it's just, they're going to blasé over it, but that's a facade.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Until they, have something really accurate to go with. They're going to just blasé over it. So I'd say the guy has a 50-50 at this point of making it through his situation.
Well, that's not good. 94 years old, Janine. See here, they're saying was taken to the hospital on Wednesday following an issue with his blood sugar while at his home in Los Angeles. Okay, well, I hope Willie's going to be okay because he's supposed to go to this Star Trek cruise in February. It's like this huge anniversary thing where a bunch of Trekkies are going to go to, and if Kirk's not there, it's going to be kind of like very sad for everybody there. All right, prizes. I do have a pyramid, I believe, Carla. Yeah, this one here. Oh, this is a nice one. The fall collection. Okay, so
Chắp tay đáp lại. Đại nhân, người này muốn gặp ngài. Tên quan binh bị lính canh chặn ở cửa đó, kiễng chân lên nói lớn: Dương đại nhân, cấp gia đại nhân, tôi là Lưu Lãng, đại nhân. Dương Lăng nghe xong thì thắc mắc trong lòng. Lưu Lãng, là lính đào ngũ từ vệ sở hay sao? Chắc tìm quan khâm sai để cáo trạng. Đợi chút, Lưu Lãng Cáp Mô Sơn. Dương Lăng đột nhiên nhớ ra, đây chính là Lưu Lãng Cáp Mô Sơn, người đã kết hợp với quân đội để đánh thắng Ngũ Đô Đô Sơn. Người này đã từng lập được đại công, nhưng đánh thắng được Ngũ Đô Đô thì bản thân lại tòng binh. Dương Lăng đã giao lại cho Lý Sâm xử lý, nên hắn cũng không có ấn tượng sâu đậm về gã. Dương Lăng thay đổi nét mặt mỉm cười, xua tay nói: cho gã ta vào. Lưu Lãng dắt theo người thiếu phụ có thân hình mảnh khảnh, làn da trắng muốt, đôi mày thanh tú, cùng với đứa con trai bụ bẫm kháu khỉnh đó đi vào, quỳ sụp xuống trước mặt Dương Lăng và nói: hạ quan phải lên đường đi nhận chức. Trước khi đi xa muốn được gặp đại nhân, đã tạ công ân như núi của ngài. Dương đại nhân xin hãy nhận của tại hạ 3 lệnh. Lưu Lãng nói dứt câu thì bèn dập đầu lại 3 cái thật kêu. Lần đầu lên nhìn thấy đứa con trai của mình vẫn còn đang ngây ngô đứng đó nhìn, bèn phát lên mông của nó một cái và mắng: tên tiểu tử kia, có đứng ngây ra đó làm gì, mau dập đầu. Không có Dương đại nhân thì không có cha của mày đâu, biết chưa? Dương Lăng cảm thấy ngượng ngùng vô cùng, đang định nhếch môi nói vài câu rồi qua đỡ Lưu Lãng đứng dậy, thì gã lại quay ra nói với thiếu phụ xinh đẹp kia, giọng khan cả đi: nàng à, đây chính là đại ân nhân của gia đình chúng ta. Cầm sai, Dương đại nhân, nếu như không có ngài ấy thì nàng sẽ phải chịu quá cả một đời đó. Mau tạ đại nhân đi. Chuyện này là như thế nào vậy? Dương Lăng nghe xong mà thấy thật ngượng ngùng, không biết phải làm như thế nào. Với một người thô kệch nhưng chân thành như vậy thì chẳng thể nào mà đi giải thích cặn kẽ chi tiết quá được. bằng không thì càng nói càng không rõ ràng. Dương Lăng đành nhận ba vái của gia đình họ rồi bước tới đỡ Lưu Lãng đứng dậy, cười nói: đừng nói như vậy, người kịp thời quay đầu về bờ, bỏ tối theo sáng cũng đã lập được công lớn. Hơn nữa cũng không phải bổn quan tự ý cất nhắc người. Nếu như không có người, bổn quan đánh trận Đô Đô Trại sẽ phải chịu tổn thất gấp nhiều lần. Người có công lớn với triều đình. Lưu Lãng nghe thấy Dương Lăng khen mình thì mỉm cười, chắp tay đáp lại: cũng nhờ cả vào Dương đại nhân, nếu như không phải là đại nhân thì chỉ e người khác khó mà có thể công phá được Đô Đô Trại. Hạ quan có muốn lập công cũng chẳng có cơ hội mà hành động. Hơn nữa lúc trước hạ quan phạm đại tội, chính đại nhân đã miễn tội và còn cắt chức quan cho hạ quan được làm. Hạ quan có thể tìm lại được vợ con, có thể được mở mày mở mặt, làm chức thủ bị, tất cả đều là nhờ vào ân đức của đại nhân ngài. Mối ân tình này cả nhà chúng tôi vĩnh viễn không bao giờ quên. Dương Lăng đang sốt ruột đi giải quyết công việc nên không muốn nói chuyện dài dòng, bèn nói: đi làm thủ bị đúng không? Đi tới đâu nhậm chức vậy? Đã đi sai đường một lần rồi, lần này phải cẩn thận, không được để sai sót nữa. Vâng, thưa đại nhân. Lưu Lãng cung kính đáp lại, sau đó mới mỉm cười nói tiếp: bẩm đại nhân, hạ quan tới Bảo Ninh phủ, có đại nhân ngài chiếu cố, Lý chỉ huy cũng rất quan tâm đến tại hạ, chọn cho tôi một nơi tốt hơn, nhưng hạ quan lại chỉ muốn trở về Bảo Ninh. Nơi đó tuy có vất vả, chó ăn đá gà ăn sỏi, cái gì cũng không có, nhưng dù sao thì đó cũng là cố hương. Hạ quan phạm tội, tất cả người trong tộc đều cảm thấy bị mất mặt, lần này cũng coi như là áo gấm về nàng. Dương Lăng gật đầu, đột nhiên nhớ đến trong bức thư gửi cho Chu Nhượng Cận, có nói đến chuyện hảo hữu trong bộ tộc Miêu gia ở Bảo Ninh phủ. Này Lưu Lãng lại nói nơi đó là vùng đất nghèo khó cằn cỗi, xem ra nơi đó quả đúng là có thật. Dương Lăng bèn nói: bộ tộc Miêu gia bên đó của nhà ngươi dường như luôn có những tranh chấp nội bộ, chắc hẳn là cũng có những va chạm không ít với người Hán. Ta nghe nói có một đám người cô trại thường xuyên đi bốn xung quanh kêu chiến, ngay đến cả các bộ tộc Miêu gia cũng dám đến sắc sược. Người quay về Bảo Ninh làm thủ bị thì phải bảo vệ mảnh đất đó, bảo vệ trị an nơi đó. Lưu Lãng kinh ngạc đáp lại: chẳng trách người ta cứ nói đại nhân ngài là Gia Cát Lượng cái thế, hóa ra là thật. Ngay cả đến nơi hoang sơ vắng vẻ nhỏ bé như cô trại mà đại nhân cũng biết được, thật là thần kỳ mà. Đại nhân xin hãy yên tâm, nơi đó là quê hương của hạ quan. Hạ quan không mong gì hơn, chỉ mong sẽ làm dạng danh cho họ Lưu nhà tôi, giúp cho đại nhân ngài được mở mày mở mặt, cho nên chắc chắn sẽ làm cho thật tốt. Dương Lăng gật đầu, trong lòng nghĩ thầm: kể từ khi hoàng thượng đăng cơ đã hạn lệnh quan viên không được phép nhậm chức tại quê nhà mình. Lệnh đó từ xưa đến nay đã có, nhưng cho đến nay thì những đại quan từ tam phẩm trở lên sẽ có những e ngại nhất định. Ở trong phạm vi địa phương thì cơ bản là không có chuyện chấp hành lệnh này. Chính lệnh này ban đầu Dương Lăng cũng là một trong những người tán thành, nhưng vị huynh đệ này cứ đứng ở trước mặt mình mà nói mãi chuyện được về quê nhà làm quan, tự như sợ người khác không biết đến vậy. Dương Lăng chỉ đành giả vờ không để ý đến, đáp lại: tốt lắm, gia đình được đoàn viên cũng là một chuyện đại hỷ. Bổn quan xin có lời chúc mừng. Giờ ta phải đi đến Thục Vương phủ một chuyến, có rất nhiều chuyện quan trọng phải làm. Ngươi nhanh chóng lên đường về quê nhậm chức đi thôi. Đợi sau này có cơ hội, bổn quan sẽ đến chỗ nhà ngươi thăm thú một phen. Dương Lăng chỉ tức thời nói như vậy thôi, nhưng Lưu Lãng lại cho là thật, cười khổ sở đáp lại: quê nhà hạ quan quả thật là chẳng có phong cảnh gì có thể dung hòa được. Đại nhân đi nhiều biết rộng, chỉ e là sẽ làm ngài thất vọng. Dương Lăng ngạc nhiên hỏi lại: nơi đó chẳng phải có Kiếm Cát hay sao? Tử Tần và Thục sẽ phải đi qua Kiếm Cát, một nơi rất nổi tiếng. Lưu Lãng đáp lại: Bảo Ninh phủ lãnh nhận 2 châu 8 huyện, Kiếm Châu quả thật là một trong số đó, nhưng nơi đó cách chỗ chúng tôi khá xa. Quê hương của hạ quan chẳng có cảnh đẹp gì có thể dung hòa được hết, nhưng trong rừng có hổ. Hạ quan trước kia từng đi săn hổ, nếu đại nhân tới đó, hạ quan nhất định sẽ tìm cách săn được một con để mời đại nhân thưởng thức thịt hổ. Vợ của Lưu Lãng thẹn thùng kéo tay áo của gã rồi nhẹ nhàng nói: đại nhân đang có việc quan trọng cần phải đi ngay, chẳng có nói lung tung gì nữa thế. Đại nhân là quan tâm sai, có thứ gì ngon mà chưa từng nếm qua chứ, còn ham gì miếng thịt hổ chứ. Dương Lăng cười một cái, trong lòng nghĩ thầm: đúng vậy, đừng là chân của quận chúa bổn quan còn gặm rồi nữa là. Người ta từng nói sắc đẹp còn ăn được mà, đương nhiên cũng coi như là ăn rồi. Trong thiên hạ này có mấy ai được ăn qua cơ chứ. Tiền có câu nói của vợ Lưu Lãng, Dương Lăng nhanh chóng cáo từ, trở lên lưng ngựa, mang theo đám thị vệ, lao nhanh đến Thục Vương phủ như một cơn gió. Dương Lăng vừa mới đến Thục Vương phủ thì phát hiện ra có gì đó không ổn, cũng cấm canh chừng cẩn mật, từng đội quan binh tay cầm đao lên cung tên, một dáng vẻ như sắp có địch đến vậy. Còn rất nhiều vệ binh trong vương phủ chạy qua chạy lại, miệng hô lớn, bắt thích khách. Dương Lăng rất ngựa đứng ở bức tường đó, có chút ngại ngùng không dám vào. Thích khách không thường gặp, nhưng năm nay lại thấy xuất hiện quá nhiều. Kể từ khi ta đến Tứ Xuyên cho đến nay thì thấy nơi đây thật không được an toàn chút nào. Nếu như để cho quần chúa nhìn thấy ta thì ắt hẳn lại sẽ mắng ta là đồ sao chổi. Một lúc lâu sau, Dương Lăng mới cho người đi đến nói rõ ý định thăm phủ của mình. Cung cấm cảnh giác nghiêm ngặt, đám vệ binh cũng không dám tự ý đi vào, bèn phái người đi thông báo cho Thục Vương. Một hồi sau thì thấy đại tổng quản nội vụ phủ đầm đìa mồ hôi bước ra nghênh đón. Dương Lăng vào bên trong phủ, vừa đi vừa hỏi: đại quản gia, đã xảy ra chuyện gì vậy? Tại sao trong vương phủ lại có thích khách? Nội vụ tổng quản phẫn nộ vô cùng, đáp lại: ây, những tên thích khách đó quả đúng là to gan, thật không biết sợ chết là gì. Vương phủ là nơi có thể dễ dàng đột nhập được vào hay sao? Đại nhân yên tâm, vương phủ có những tín hiệu truyền tin riêng, có thể lan tin đi rất nhanh. Vương gia vừa mới gặp nạn, thông tin đã được thông báo cho các cung rồi, đến đó chạy không phát động. Dương Lăng chỉ nghe thấy ông ta hét lên bắt thích khách, nhưng lại không nhắc đến tình trạng vết thương của vương gia. Chắc chắn là Thục Vương thoát được. Dương Lăng phải nói: vương gia cắt nhân thiên tướng là được rồi, chỉ là tên thích khách đó sao lại có thể lẻn được vào vương cung không làm thương vương gia chứ? Nội vụ tổng quản cười khinh miệt đáp lại: tên thích khách đó có bản lĩnh và được đến vương phủ, nhưng lại không hay biết rằng bên cạnh vương gia còn có tiểu linh tử công công, là một trong những cao thủ hàng đầu. Năm xưa tung hoành Tây Vực, đã có mấy ai làm thương được vương gia trước mặt ông ấy cơ chứ? Lại là một cao thủ. Hiện nay cao thủ không còn giá trị gì nữa hay sao? Tại sao đi tới đâu cũng tức thì có thể xuất hiện một cao thủ vậy? Thế tử là cao thủ, nhị điện hạ cũng là cao thủ, ngay cả đến một lão thái giám bình thường bên cạnh Thục Vương cũng là. Không may là nội vụ tổng quản ngay tức thì nói tiếp: võ công của đại điện hạ và nhị điện hạ đều là do tiểu linh tử công công truyền dạy. Hóa ra là như vậy, thì ra là một cao thủ dạy thành công hai cao thủ khác. Lúc này Dương Lăng mới nhớ đến lúc trước ở Thanh Dương Cung, Chu Nhượng Cẩn một đao chém đứt lùng tây, thần pháp tung người lao tới đao pháp, quả nhiên là sắc bén lợi hại. Những người chứng kiến lúc đó đều kinh ngạc, duy chỉ có Thế Tử là trách mắng đồ đệ lỗ mãng, khiến cho mọi người hoảng sợ mà không có bất cứ một chút để ý gì đến võ công của Chu Nhượng Cẩn. Nếu như Chu Nhượng Hủ không biết võ công thì cho dù là sớm biết huynh đệ của mình có võ công tốt như vậy thì cũng không thể nào quan sát một cách bình thản như vậy được. Nếu như là được hai sư phụ khác nhau truyền thụ thì đối với một bản năng của người học võ sẽ quan sát một cách chi tiết võ công của người khác. Xem ra khả năng quan sát của bản thân mình vẫn còn thua kém một chút. Hai người vội vàng đến tầm cung của Thục Vương. Nơi đây còn hỗn loạn hơn cả ngoài kia. Đám thị vệ rất khí đằng đằng, cung nữ thái giám mà muốn vào bên